Thank you very much. Your Excellency, President William Ruto, who is also the party leader of UDA, leaders of the two political parties, ladies and gentlemen, Amjambo. There are ODM people here. ODM. 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 You see, wako tayari. Well, I'm very happy to stand before you here this morning to talk to you after a long period of absence. As you know that in the last 6 months, I've been engaged in the campaign on the continental platform for the position of the chair of the African Union. Some people ask me why did I decide to run for that position. And I say that I was approached by senior leaders on the continent who, when they saw that that position was becoming vacant, they needed somebody with a Pan-Africanist ideology to go and try to set that movement in the right path so that it can achieve the objectives for which the founding fathers formed it. So they then sent the former Nigerian president, President Obasanjo, to me to come and persuade me to run. And after a lot of soul searching, I made a decision. And some of you will have seen me with President Obasanjo on my side when I announced that I was going to run for the position of African Union chair. I did not expect to be supported by the Kenya government. But out of blues, President Ruto announced that he will support my candidature. I thought this is a better way to get rid of him. Good riddance. I would say that, in respect of the motives, he actually was genuine because he followed that announcement by giving full support to my candidature. As you know, you cannot run for the chair of African Union without being sponsored by your home government. You cannot just sit somewhere there and say, Mimi ni Professor Kithure Kindiki, I want to be a chairman of African Union. You will not even be seen. Your name must be presented by a government official through the embassy of Kenya in Addis Ababa. And this they did. Not only that, they put also the machinery behind my campaign. And Mr. President Ruto himself called various presidents and made an appointment for me and also persuaded them to support my candidature. He himself invited the president from East Africa here in Nairobi to basically adopt me as a candidate for the Eastern region. And this they did. So Kenyan ambassadors in all those foreign countries were also informed and that they would support my candidature. And wherever I went to, they received me at the airport, took me to the hotels, and also took me to meet with the president. I was able to meet more than 40 presidents on the continent. And I traveled Africa from east to west, south to north, like never before. As you know that I have been the high representative of the AU on issues of infrastructure. So I'm not actually strange to these issues, to the continent. But it gave me a better opportunity to now understand problems facing many African countries firsthand from the leadership of the continent. Let's know that our continent has suffered seriously from innovations from outside. First was the slave trade that took so many of able manpower across the shores to go and work in the building of Americas, both North America and South America. Some were taken to Arabia, some were incarcerated there and died there. So that was the first. Then came colonialism, where they went and set somewhere in Berlin and partitioned Africa according to their interests. British, French, Italian, Portuguese, and so on and so forth. So Africa has suffered seriously. That was colonialism. Then when Africans fought for independence, they granted it. It was a flag, but then there was also neo-colonialism that came about, and Africa has continued to be marginalized. So I saw this and came up with a program of how we were going to deal with these issues. We campaigned strongly, and we went to Addis Ababa quite confident of victory. Before I went there, the women here, Orange women in Nairobi, organized a prayer meeting for me in the Bomas of Kenya. And they prayed for my success. And I told them that they were only going to do two outcomes in Addis. One, we would win, in which case we would have succeeded. The other one, we would lose, but we would also have succeeded. Because I told them why, we will come back home. So east and or west, home is? So we are here. So when I came back, I went to meet with the president in Mombasa to thank him for the support that the government had given me during that campaign. And he was, of course, very gracious. And at that time, I found when the two teams from the parties had worked out on some documents that they wanted to be signed, I told him I cannot sign the document until I've consulted our people, my people. So I took time. From that time, I went to Kisumu. I met with Professor. I met with leadership and elders in Kisumu. I went to Siaya. I went to Migori. I went to Homa Bay. I went to Busia, where I met with all the leadership from all the 5 counties to Western. Then I went to the coast. I was in Mombasa. I was in Malindi, in Kilifi. I was in Kwale. I came back. I went to Wajir. I came back. Yesterday I was in Kisii. I was in Narok. I was in Nairobi, here in this same building here with leadership of Nairobi. That is what you call random sampling. And I think I managed to get the feeling of my people, my supporters. And that's the reason why I am today able and confident to sign this document. So I want to say this, I would note. Today, we have signed a memorandum of understanding between Orange Democratic Movement and the United Democratic Alliance. The cardinal goal of the MOU is to help ease the prevailing tensions in the country, reconcile the population, alleviate their suffering, and move the country forward by addressing the critical social, political, and economic issues our people are grappling with today. As leaders of the largest political parties in the country, we arrived at the understanding that in a time of significant changes and challenges to our nation, it is not enough to merely grandstand or stand aside and criticize, easy as those may be. They say any madman can kick down a barn, but it takes a good carpenter to build one. We have agreed to help build a barn for our country, rather than merely kick down what we have. We have agreed to use our parties as a broad platform, bringing together various voices, opinions, and concerns to address the critical challenges facing the country through a formation that is truly national and inclusive in outlook. A core problem we agreed to prioritize is youth unemployment and resulting hopelessness that has made them easy fodder in political contests in which there is nothing tangible for them. In this MOU, we agree to embark on steps to realign the country's economic, social, and political priorities to address the youth agenda that has progressively fallen behind in the last 62 years of our independence. Through this MOU, we commit to uphold the Constitution, the rule of law, and respect for human rights. Importantly, we pledge to tackle unemployment, cost of living, crippling poverty, inequality, and failure of the institutions that have been eroded by inefficiency and corruption over the decades, making them unable to deliver to Kenyans. We seek a more equitable country in which all peoples of all backgrounds are included in the enjoyment of socio-economic benefits and are equal members of one indivisible nation. All Kenyans must feel that they belong here by right, and the right to access, without any form of discrimination, whatever Kenya has to offer. We commit to protect and to strengthen devolution as a machinery for ensuring a more inclusive development across the country. In this regard, we will be tabling a proposal that the unbundling of functions that has been recently concluded, counties should get not less than 450 billion shillings in the 2025-2026 financial year. We will also seek the faithful flow of funds to political parties, being vehicles for the channeling of hopes and aspirations of the people. We will use this platform to revisit the constitutional provisions on leadership and integrity, corruption in public life, fundamental freedoms like free speech, protest and assembly, and preservation of the rule of law. We recognize that many of the issues this country is struggling with are as old as the country itself. It will take mutual trust between leaders and the creation of a conducive environment for them to be tackled with honesty and objectivity in a broadly constituted formation. As leaders of and our parties, we commit to hold regular consultations on pressing issues, exchange expertise and information on the best practices in the governance of the Republic of Kenya, and facilitate and participate in public activities of interest to the people of Kenya that relate to their problems. We make it clear that the memorandum we have signed today does not define the formation of a political coalition between ODM and UDA. However, its successful implementation could inform the basis of steps toward the establishment of a broadly constitutive and progressive formation for a stable country in future. We urge all Kenyans who are interested in having a stable, inclusive, and progressive country, devoid of grandstanding and alienation of whole communities and regions, to rally behind this formation in the interest of our nation. God bless Kenya. Thank you. My pleasure now to invite my brother, William Samoei Ruto, to come, the party leader of UDA.